It is Wednesday the 16th. It's Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Isn't it Tuesday?
It is.
Actually,
We did a test.
I practiced this earlier just because they wanted us to test the microphones. I'm going to show you how the sausage is made. And I got the date correct. And I got the day of the week correct. And then come the real thing, I fluff my lines. Anyway, Shane is here. Colm is here. What a great start to this morning show.
Yeah, we tried. Good morning. How are things?
Yeah, very good. I arrived in about 8:15 last night to sit down to watch the football, and I was like, this is going to be crap. And then checked my Twitter, and it was aflame with the VAR audio. I was like, oh. So I rewound and watched that, and then caught up with the goals and missed nothing in the football. But the VAR stuff, it's like they're doing it's almost like it's the GAA. They're doing everything they can not to rip anything off from another sport for fear of being seen to rip something off from another sport. But basically, they've invented ref mic from rugby. They've invented ref mic from rugby, and they're like, wow, this is unbelievable. And it actually was unbelievable. It was brilliant to see. I don't know if you've seen this or not, but they had Howard Webb on, who was very impressive.
Yeah, really good.
Like a really, really impressive character who was more than happy to listen to the stuff from either side of him and seemed to have a bit of authority over the two pundits who were like...
A little bit afraid of him.
It felt a little bit like they were in the presence of one of their former managers. But they went through a series of contentious decisions over the course of the season, and it completely humanised the referees. It explained that there's essentially two people in VAR working at the same time on stuff, that the communication is excellent. There's this kind of constant panting in the background, which is the tired referee, which would suggest that they all need to do a little bit of fitness work, or actually it's a much harder job than we think. I'm in the second
latter,
camp,
I think, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think it's basically, if they just had that feed, and there's no reason why they couldn't have the feed, because they have the feed in rugby, then all this would go away. Everything would just go away.
Football has a huge problem with dissent and disrespect by players towards referees.
Again,
And this would, I think, help solve that huge
10 game ban for
in
saying the
football.
stuff that they actually say.
It's awful. They get away with murder, these players, like, and you go through the ages, like, remember the old Manchester United teams, they were brutal for it, like, the famous game against Middlesbrough 99 when Roy Keane and Yap Stam and the lads chased down the ref, like, literally chased them around the pitch, right up to the modern day.
It's funny, because this is actually have a piece with the BBC commentary at the weekend. They had Maurice Deegan, they introduced him before the match, and they went to him across the course of the game, and, there was back and forth, Morris talking about Philly McMahon. And it was the same with Howard Webb last night, talking about Gary Neville. Yeah, orchestrated campaigns by players to overturn decisions like in your day, Gary. Oh, yeah, fair point. Because Neville was like, oh, do you not just have to listen to the players when they're telling you something? They're like, well, because then you'll just
not always
lie to me, Gary, the way you would have done.
I think it'll create more empathy for referees and linesmen. Like, there was one occasion where there was an offside that was absolutely marginal, and the VAR said straight away, yeah, this is going to be a tight one. And after it was given as onside, and the goal was the Newcastle goal, and it was the linesman starts apologising.
Joe Linton.
Sorry, lads.
Yeah.
It's like you're really apologising for something that the human eye could probably barely just pick up.
Yeah, well, he actually did the right thing. I think it's one of those reflex sorries as opposed to Neville picked up on that. I'm like, I mean, people have conversations.
True.
It may well just be a conversational tick, but really, like, I still have significant doubts about when the ball is kicked. Like, is the ball kicked the moment that the contact is made with the ball? Is the ball kicked finally when the foot leaves the ball and is no longer in contact with each other? They don't actually focus on that. And we could see that what they're focused on is like the line of the last defender and the line of the foremost attacking player, but they don't do any focus on the precise second. And actually TV isn't high def enough to be able to tell you when the ball leaves the foot. So all of this, I think, is kind of a little bit of bullshit. But anyway, it's our current best bullshit.
They've altered the body position since the COVID season when there was goals being ruled out. Parts of the body that had nothing to do with goals scored. I think Sadio Mane got done really badly with his arm, I think, yeah. And they changed that since. But it does seem when they were going through like the audio of a typical decision like they did last night on Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
It's like, it does all seem kind of overly complicated. It's like it kind of does take the joy out of everything. It's like listening to recordings of like in a NASA station.
I know.
Yeah, but
a space
mission control.
It's real, like, and like I know it's ultimately for the benefit of the game, and more correct decisions are being made. But I was like, geez, you'd forget why we're all here in the first place. Like, this is supposed to be enjoyable.
The most exciting.
You have these guys like so stressed out for. Oh my god, can you just draw that line? Just to the far guy there, please. Just give me a sec, please. I'll be done in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, this is supposed to be escapism. Ultimately,
well, no, you're Simon Jordan. They're supposed to get it right. I mean, sorry, if it sounds like it's NASA, that's literally the most impressive stuff that really human beings have ever done is putting, humans, other humans.
The thought they put into this is it's very commendable.
And also it's going to get faster and quicker.
But I really do think they should be playing this all the time, and they should definitely mic up the refs so that you can hear the player-ref interaction. And I guarantee overnight players will be like, I better watch them saying here.
Just cut it.
Commercial deals are gone.
Cut to it live.
Find out what I'm like.
Not after the game as well. Like, at the end of the game, let's see this. Just do it live. It's a really obvious thing.
It's the one thing I really, really love rugby for, is the relationship between players and refs.
And one other thing about rugby, they've started to talk over the ref mic way more now than they used to. Just shut up and let us hear what the referee is saying, and then he's part of your commentary team.
Yeah, literally.
A little bit of.
Well, it's like you say, it takes the fun out of sport, but it
doesn't.
No, it doesn't. The Kai Havertz one, particularly, the referee is behind.
It adds this extra layer of tension where we find out whether or not something actually happened.
No, but when every goal is scored now, there's a split second delay. You were like, not like when you were at Old Trafford at the weekend.
Yeah, you're waiting.
Did you feel that?
Those 2 goals are fairly clear cut, I think. But even then,
they're going to probably go back to this. Like, was there a VAR decision?
No.
You didn't have to wait for anything, did you?
No VAR decisions.
Yeah, I was at Spurs Wolves at the start of the season. There was none either, but I would like to hear what the user experience is like in the stadium of,
Oh yeah, okay, it's ruining the game except the 2 games that we were at.
But to your end,
I never said that once. I'm just saying it comes across so serious.
It's supposed to be escapism.
Your point, Ger, about
I know it's people's livelihoods. I understand that, but it's the entertainment industry, baby.
Yeah,
and it doesn't sound very entertaining. These people are have heart attacks. Like,
the year is 2023. That your point, Ger, about the moment that the ball is actually kicked. Why don't we have sensors on every single player's foot? I know obviously the ball could be knee forward, or whatever, but at least that would stamp it. Well, in 50 years' time, there's going to be something crazy like that. Sensors in boots.
They're going to have so many rules that be like, say, what are we doing here again?
Yeah.
But like, again, going back to rugby, right? And see, the thing is, it's such a different game, obviously, because there's so many more decisions happening in football than rugby. You can almost predict what's about to happen in rugby from the referee's perspective. Oftentimes in football, like, you could have a split second, like someone's being fouled or there's a decision to be made. But when a referee makes a call in rugby, 9 times out of 10, player would be like, fine, I don't agree with it, but whatever, and walks away.
Yeah,
the game would be so much better off. I cannot stand. It's my biggest pet peeve is the way footballers treat referees.
Well, and I think this would all help. I don't think it's going to fix it. I think that there's a cultural issue from parents on sidelines screaming at referees in underage sport, and you can see it, and that comes from, like, pent up, vicarious living, failed athletes. Anyway, that's a tangent. Should bring in the mics for good, says Tom Flynn. Mic up the manager as well. Be interesting to hear. Maybe not.
No.
No need to be miking officials up. Just another reason for people to be moaning. Lead the nonsense to the rugby, says Brian. And then Bobby Dwyer, was anybody else trying to work out their abbreviations? PPV. What was the or APP? What was it? Was it attacking play? It was like the start of the play. They seem to be. Needs to be ref mic just like in rugby. Would be a massive improvement for the breaks in play. John Dooley says, anybody hear the Stormers coach in Kitchoff's interview yesterday trying to explain the video? I didn't hear it, actually. I didn't see that. So John, in the comments, maybe you would inform us about, we were just happy we didn't have to get on a plane again because we like the environment and it's good to not burn the planet. Is it something like that?
That sounds about right. Very good point from Shane in the comments this morning. They cherry picked the footage last night. Nobody complained about the Havertz decision. Why not show a major decision they got wrong? They did
show the decision they got wrong. The last one they showed was one that they got wrong, where they hadn't reviewed the original part of it. Was it even Tony getting a penalty, winning the pentality by doing the old GAA trick of like clamping the elbow to him? So they did show that.
Is that the Arsenal Brentford one? No, because that's what a lot of the comments on social media were asking for that one to be shown.
Was it Arsenal?
That's when they apologised for it. See, they've come out and apologised. I don't even know if the apologies are actually helping them. Well, which is another commendable thing to do. People seem to criticise them for that as well.
I think they do help in that it's like, you are correct. We've listened to you. We were wrong. And if the person is still angry after that, then they're just a bit of a dickhead. Like that's a little bit of friendly advice in human life. When you apologise to somebody and you're sincere about it, and the other person is still angry, then that's on them.
Do you remember when they did mic up the managers? Big Sam and Dave Bassett about 20 years ago, Bolton against Leicester. It was a part of a TV documentary to show the heart rate of the managers.
Oh yeah,
how like tight they go to the brink. We have Vinny Perth here standing by. We should definitely ask Vinny about this.
Yeah, for sure.
Would ever be mic'd up for it?
Here's what's coming up between now and 10 o'clock for you this morning. As Colm said, Vinny Perth is standing by. Keith Wood at 20 past 8. Emma Sanders talking football at 8:40. Colm O'Rourke is going to join us live at 8:55. Tommy Rooney's power rankings. It's an orgy of mead today. And then Colin Boyle at 9:30. So anything else very quickly we want to go through? Some
well, the game itself,
quick bits. Oh sorry, it was a routine 3-0 win.
If you're watching Wout Fight, if you watch the two games Leicester and Liverpool played this season, you would think Wout Fight was lumped off a Sunday League match and thrown in because they couldn't find anyone else. My word, he was crap last night and crap again in the reverse fixture. Johnny Evans, was it you were saying this morning, first game in
since October?
Like that's ridiculous. Like Dean Smith's just like panic stations now, throw in these lads. Like defensively they're abysmal. Liverpool were good last night, but Leicester they're going down, lads.
Tell you, it was a brave interviewer, Patrick Davison on Sky Sports, getting braver each interview. Asked Johnny Evans afterwards last night, did you feel like you had to play tonight to do your team a favour? Like, were you not ready to play? And Johnny just says, no, I was ready. Didn't elaborate. Ugh. And Patrick let a little gap go, a little silence. Kind of, you sure? And moved on with the next question. It's getting braver. This is the guy that Jurgen Klopp often has a problem with.
Yeah.
Interesting questions, but Evans faced the media, but Leicester, like, God, they're done for.
I think
they've won one of their last 15 games.
Johnny Evans, stand-up character, brilliant career. It's unfortunate it's going to finish like this, but
one of Louis Van Gaal's mistakes selling Johnny Evans.
Yeah, that's fair.
As cheap as he was.
Yeah, to West Brom.
You look at the Leicester squad. Madison's going to go. Barnes is going to go for big money. Tielemans will go for a free. Ndidi, Soumare, Castagna. All these players are like Leicester are going to have a completely different squad next season. Like so many players are going to go. That's assuming they get relegated. Even if they don't get relegated, Madison and Barnes will still probably leave, you'd imagine.
It's hard to see them coming back from this, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yesterday was the 2-year anniversary of their FA Cup win, their first ever FA Cup 2021.
That's mad.
And like you forget how decent their campaign was last season. They finished 8th, got to the semi-final of the Europa Conference League, lost to the eventual winners Roma by the odd goal, and the 2 previous seasons they finished 5th with that FA Cup thrown in. And this time last year, Brendan Rodgers was talking about if we can just improve our defending at set pieces, add a couple of players here and there, things are looking good.
Yeah.
There's a Jonathan Northcroft wrote about this in the Sunday Times at the weekend about the demise of Leicester City this season. He comes back after pre-season. It's like, if we can stay up, we get 40 points, we're doing well. That's how quickly it changed.
They have Newcastle, and then their last game of the season is at home to West Ham, who may already be cup champions and safe by that stage. So it's not entirely beyond the bounds of possibility they win the last game of the season and perhaps have a miracle last day escape.
Are Liverpool going to get top 4? Like they are. Well, they need. Well, Man United and Newcastle United need 2 wins out of the last 3 games. Newcastle's games are Brighton at home, Leicester at home, Chelsea away. Whereas Manchester United plays Bournemouth away this weekend, and then they have Chelsea and Fulham at home.
Newcastle will beat Leicester and Chelsea, so that's okay.
You think so?
Yeah.
They're on a bit of a slide though, Newcastle.
They're okay. They're not really.
Liverpool they're getting there. They're still snooker's required stage, but they're closing down. Liverpool obviously have to win their last couple of games, but you feel like they're absolutely going to in this form. And Trent's free kick last night was just ridiculous, by the way.
Do we need to talk about Liverpool? Like the thing about their players all being the midfield all being past it, not being the correct narrative, and the defensive issues being because the forwards weren't like. Have they actually managed to fix everything, or is this just because there's no pressure on them?
Could be a decent argument, yeah.
Is there as much remedial work required as we thought, or is there still loads and loads and loads of remedial work required? Because this form they're on at the moment is like Manchester City title winning form.
Yeah, 7 games won in a row.
But look at who they've played. Like, look at the last few games. So since the 2-2 at Arsenal, like they've had Leeds, Nottingham Forest, West Ham, Tottenham, Fulham, Brentford, Leicester. They should win all those games, and they have done. I think it's the opposition playing into account. They definitely need to replenish the midfield. Like Jordan Henderson and Fabinho are good players, but I think you should rely on them completely. Was it more tactical that everybody worked Klopp out, and it's taken him half the season to work out what his change is going to be? He's made those changes, a few tweaks.
few players have come back from injury, fair enough, but that actually the team isn't as drastically bad. So adding Trent's energy into midfield kind of means that you can still have the midfield that they've had. That you're not throwing the baby out here. Yeah. But actually, anyway, we can come back to
exposed,
that. We can come back to that. Other stuff that you want to talk about?
Yeah, the jersey clash in the Ulster final, lads.
I didn't see one. I didn't see one. I saw one team that has a big round white thing in the middle of it.
How close were you to the screen?
One was red and one was orange. No, if I had that close, I couldn't see anything. In fairness, you made the point that it was more confusing than it needed to be, and that's a fair point. Derry do have an away jersey, which would have been, white.
The white jersey stripes. Is their main jersey. Like the red is their alternate. They threw on their alternate kit, and by the way, Armagh's orange is not as vibrant an orange as it usually is this year. But they also could have worn their black jersey, which they are trying to market left, right, and centre in Armagh. They want to sell that black jersey like nothing normal.
So Derry chose to wear the red.
Yeah, Derry chose to wear the red.
Instead of their white.
And Armagh were like,
well, that doesn't make any sense. I personally did not see the clash. Maybe there's a much deeper orange-red colour blindness in the Irish. We have it's like what's the stigmata? Curiously Irish stigmata.
But I think if you were in St. Eunuch's Park, it probably wouldn't have been as obvious, the jersey clash. But certainly on television, I thought this is.
I watched on BBC. I don't know. Maybe they're something slightly different going on with their cameras or something.
Yeah, possibly
higher level of grading or something.
Why didn't they had to change it to make it easier?
The whites. I don't know why they didn't wear the whites.
I would like to hear the players' perspective.
It's not terrible in that photograph that we've put up. It's not terrible in that photograph
because there's a big white stripe in the middle of it.
Yeah, but that's because it's close up. But on the TV,
it's far away as well.
For the TV viewer, there was 30,000 people in Ulster that it was probably fine for. But for the hundreds of thousands probably watching on TV and
if that home. I couldn't. I was looking at Twitter, getting angry about this, and I was like, I don't see this. The big white stripe in the middle is the giveaway that's the Derry lads, and the other one is not the Derry lads. If that was Cork versus Armagh, I would 100%. I'd be like, yeah, no, two.
I have to say, lucky. My experience was affected by it. I have good eyesight. Good colour vision, and I was in a hotel.
Obviously you don't.
Well, listen, I was in a hotel watching it from a reasonable distance from the TV. I wasn't sitting up beside it.
Okay.
But I was like, at times I was confused.
You were a little bit tipsy after the weekend in Manchester too.
No.
Got a little bit of context into this.
It was the goal kicks. Do you know when the
coming down off the high of Ronnie O'Sullivan, and
possibly.
You're like,
yeah, maybe, yeah.
Who's that lad there?
Maybe that was it. Cloudy.
I'd like to hear the players' thoughts on it.
Yeah.
Were they able to see?
Yeah,
was there any problem there? I thought it's classic GA like.
Yeah, typical.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have a bit of cohesion beforehand. What are you going to wear?
And ultimately, whose decision
is it? Like a night out.
Is it the Ulster Council's decision? It probably is. Like, they're the ones, it's their tournament. So, anyway. I do agree that the white, you're in your white and you're in your orange. We've tossed. Where did you toss? It was the crappy quiz toss in advance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What are you going to do about it? Wear the whites.
Yeah.
The black jersey's nice.
And then we're like,
gorgeous.
But then if they come out not wearing their whites, you just fine them. And then the county board is like, okay, we're doing what we're told. And all of a sudden...
the white and black would have looked brilliant. Armagh in black, Derry in their white with a little bit of red. They missed a perfect opportunity to have one of the great jersey clashes.
The most aesthetically pleasing GA match out there. Cork against Dublin.
Aesthetically pleasing?
Yeah, a beautiful red against a beautiful blue.
Ooh.
What problem's there, like? That's what you need to aim for.
I think you're wrong. It's Kildare versus Sligo in the under-20 final, black versus white.
That's actually...
I think black and white's too black and white.
Oh,
I think Cork Dublin is just a bit of summer colouring.
I don't know. It depends. The Dublin jersey has improved in recent years. It was terrible for about 3 decades, but they've got their act together in the last 7 or 8 years.
There was a version of it a few years ago. Is my favourite. I think it's gone backwards now. And it was the white collar. 3 or 4 years ago.
Their Argentina jersey was amazing. But anyway, let's move on. Marcelo.
Sorry, I thought you were going to segue from Argentina into Carlos Tevez there, but...
Well, I was about to go Marcelo Bielsa is back.
Yeah.
Uruguay, overnight. I thought Leeds United should have seriously considered reappointing him after Jesse Marsh and even Javi Gracia. But if Big Sam keeps them up, obviously it's job done. Good appointment.
You can't go back.
I would make an exception for Bielsa because he himself is such a unique character.
Big Sam is not getting the job after the summer. You can't give it to him. There's no way on earth Big Sam is getting the job.
Based on the first 2 games?
I don't think.
Or anyway?
I don't think anyway. Like, do you really think that the American investors are going to come over and be like, yeah, he's the guy for us? They're not. They're not going to do that.
No, he could win them over with his salesmanship.
Wow. And you were saying there was an amazing story on the football kickoff last week where Big Sam just chartered a jet one time because there was a plane delay.
Yeah, I was talking to Keith Tracy about this. So Tracy played under Big Sam at Blackburn. I was saying, when he was Newcastle manager, he was only there for like 8 months.
Yeah.
Got a helicopter in, but they took the company car off him when he was leaving, so he had to get a lift home. The quick demise of Big Sam. But Keith Tracy was saying, you have similar stories. I have one for you there. When they were travelling somewhere with Blackburn, flight was delayed. Big Sam having none of it. He's like, no. Get a private jet. 60 grand he dropped in his credit card. No bother at all.
Oh, he paid for himself?
He does not wait for time. He does his own thing. He's on Big Sam time.
Do you think he claimed it back on expenses after? I'm not sure.
We never got to that part. That's part 2 coming up this week.
You probably don't know. Kickoff. You don't get to hear those things. That's maybe the chairman was like, look.
Are you in any way surprised that Sam would do something like that?
Not a chance.
Because I asked that to Keith, and Keith was like, oh no, totally in character.
Right.
Yeah. Also said he's a great lad and he's brilliant to the night out. So
That doesn't surprise
good company,
me
So
very quickly, Manchester City and Manchester United, Neville and Carragher picked them.
They picked the combined 11 between the treble-winning side for Manchester United in 1999 and this season's Manchester City side, who of course are on themselves the brink of a treble. Gary Neville's 11 was the 99-11, including himself at right back. Jamie Carragher's 11 was a bit more subtle. He had Kyle Walker at right back, Ruben Diaz centre half with Jaap Stam, Ilkay Gundogan and Jack Grealish in midfield with De Bruyne and Haaland up top.
Took Gary Neville out, obviously.
Took Gary Neville out, but kept Irwin, Stam, Schmeichel, Keane and Beckham in his 11. Grealish's stats superior this season than Giggs' were in 99. Giggs up to the final had 3 goals and 1 assist all season. Not a great campaign.
I wouldn't massively argue with Carragher's team except for Scholes being taken out. Gundogan in instead of him. Gundogan's brilliant, but
Carragher made the point that Scholes wasn't always starting that season.
Exactly. Not on the team. He's not on the team. He couldn't get in the Man United team. What he's all talking about. Oh, he was the greatest midfielder of all time. Alex Ferguson didn't think so because he didn't pick him.
Scored in the FA Cup final against Newcastle that season. Pretty important at various junctures throughout the season as well.
Couldn't get in the team.
He would have started the Champions League final if he wasn't suspended. I don't know.
Would he have started because Roy Keane was suspended? Like, would he definitely have started? I don't. Maybe he would. Maybe he wouldn't. I don't know. But like, there's a lot of Scholes. Scholes had a great career, and his longevity was massively impressive, and his comeback from retirement was massively impressive. But, like, he wasn't in the same class as Roy Keane.
Scholes,
Different player.
He's a different player, but he wasn't in the same class. There's like a class of players, a tier of players.
Is that because we're Irish, though? Are we saying that because we're Irish?
No, I don't think so. I don't think he was in the same class as Xavi. I don't think he was in the same class as Iniesta. I think he was a very good player. He had an excellent career.
If you asked Xavi and Iniesta, they would say he absolutely was.
But sure, like, here's the thing: players always say other players are amazing. What benefit is there? Well, because then you end up coming across.
They don't have to say anything.
A bit of a dick.
They never had to speak about Paul Scholes. But
I'd say they were all asked. Of course, they were all asked by the English media. Oh, Paul Scholes, he's world class, isn't he? Yes, he is world class. Yes, he's world class. Excellent. But I always killed him.
When they talk about Scholes, they talk about latter half of his career. Scholes, when he started playing deeper and controlling games, because Scholes was put up front when they signed Juan Varane.
Yeah.
So he was a sacrificial lamb in the midfield the famous four, which didn't actually play together that often.
10, wasn't he? Yeah.
And if he's world class, why was he being sacrificed?
It was more when he actually changed. He used to when he wore the long sleeves as a young fella. He was scoring goal scoring midfielder. Changed the short sleeves, dropped back, played in the deep line playmaker role, and that's when I think his peers started talking about him as this great player. When you're comparing him to Roy Keane, I think he's incomparable. I can never remember a player like Keane.
I'd have Luka Modric ahead of him, miles ahead of him. Miles and miles.
Longevity at the top level, probably. I mean, forget Scholes retired and came back, of course, after 6 months.
I gave him extra points for his longevity.